What's going on, everyone? My name's Nico, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the most effective way to study for the MCAT. I'm going to share my MCAT study plan that allowed me to score in the 99th percentile, and without further ado, let's get into it. So I studied for about 4.5 months, and so that's the amount of time that I would recommend. I would say 4 to 5 months. So in this video I'll give y'all a 4-month study plan, and then you can extend that out a little bit just to take some pressure off and not have to stress about it last minute. So I would recommend getting the Kaplan 7-book series for content review. MCAT studying while listening to this music is lit. These books have all the information that you're going to need to know in a very easy to understand format, and they also are very efficient. I feel they don't give you information that you don't need. They don't provide you with just kind of excess BS that's not going to help you out. And I would recommend answering all of the concept checks, which are like laid out within each chapter, and then also doing all of the end of chapter quizzes. That just kind of reinforces the info in your memory and is a good way to test how well you understood the concepts in that chapter. I just wanted to quickly say that I will leave links to all of the resources that I mention in this video down in the description, and I will also leave a link to a document that has a basic outline of the stuff I talked about, so you can refer back to that if you need to. So the next thing I'll recommend is that 3 months out from your test date, I would buy a 3-month UWorld subscription. That's the letter U and then World. It's a website, and they have practice MCAT questions from all kinds of different subjects, and you can kind of create your own tests. You can include, reading comprehension, biology, biochemistry, psychology, sociology, whatever subject you were interested in doing, and you can make it, as few questions or as many questions as you want. So if you only have like 20 minutes, you can still do some practice questions. I liked that a lot because you don't have to take a full practice test. You don't have to sit there for 7 hours and use a full day on it. You can just get some practice answering MCAT style questions with the amount of time you have available. So the other thing I'll recommend pretty early on, maybe after about a month of studying, is the Next Step free diagnostic test, which is a half-length practice MCAT, which will give you a scaled score, and you can kind of see where you are and set some goals of where you need to improve. You kind of see what sections of the MCAT you need to improve on and go from there. What I'll recommend next is Anki flashcard software. So this is a program that has digital flashcards that it kind of has a special algorithm where it will show you the flashcards more frequently that are harder for you, and it won't show you flashcards that are easy for you. So you can create your own flashcards using this online program, and you can type stuff in, and you can insert images and all these kinds of things, and then you can practice with them. And based on how hard a flashcard is for you, like whether you easily remembered it or couldn't even remember that concept at all, you can click easy, medium, or hard. And then based on what you clicked, the program will show you that flashcard again within a shorter amount of time if it was hard for you, or if it was easy for you, it'll say, oh, okay, you don't have to see this for a while because you already find this card easy. Oh, hey man, check out my dope flashcards. You actually have paper flashcards, dude, and not electronic flashcard systems? That's so 2010s. Okay, so that's a lot of stuff I would recommend doing in the first 1 to 2 months. Definitely reviewing all that content to get a good base of knowledge, and starting with some practice questions and start creating flashcards, things like that, to really have a good base to go off of. And then months 3 through 4, I would recommend definitely starting using the AAMC practice materials. So that's the company that actually administers the MCAT, and they have like 5 practice tests. They have a bunch of other practice questions and like their own flashcards and stuff like that. So I tried to get through pretty much as much of that as possible. I got through almost all of it by the time I took my MCAT. So, that's from the people that put out the test themselves. So it's definitely your best resource. And I would save that for months 3 through 4, your last 2 months of studying. But definitely crucial to go through all that. If you want more practice tests, there's the company Next Step that I recommended doing their half-length test. They also have some full-length tests, and they're kind of the next best thing to the AAMC practice test. So, I would definitely recommend doing those if you want more practice. So I wanted to make a quick note about practice tests. Practice tests are great because they get you used to kind of similar to real testing conditions. I would definitely recommend doing all practice tests with the standard amount of time that they give you on the actual MCAT, not like doing 1.5x time or anything like that. And if you can, wake up at the same time you're going to and take it at the same time. I personally didn't. I slept in and took it, whenever I was ready that day. But with each practice test, what can be super useful about it is going over it after you finish. So every practice test software will give you all the right and wrong answers to every question, and some will give you a pretty good explanation. So you want to go over every single question, the ones you got right and the ones you got wrong. And certainly for the ones you got wrong, you want to make flashcards and write notes about why you got it wrong, and practice those concepts more to understand that information better so that you won't make that mistake on the next one. And then even for questions you got right, you may have gotten it right just because you got lucky or just because you guessed the right answer. So don't just disregard questions you got right. I would still go over those. And if you got it right because you got lucky or whatever, I would still make a note of that, make a flashcard about it, write it down to practice that concept. If there's something you got right because you just know it super well, then be like, great, I knew that, I don't have to worry about that. Another thing is reading the 85-page or 100-page psychology sociology document on Reddit, and making Anki flashcards of the parts you don't know well. So that has kind of like the basics of all you'll need to know for the psychology sociology section. People on Reddit have compiled it for you, and you can kind of just go through that and see kind of where you're at. So that's kind of a streamlined way to study for that section. For cars, the critical reading and analysis section, or critical analysis and reading, I believe, you can practice with Khan Academy passages. They have extra passages. So if you get through all the AAMC content and you've done all the U-World cars questions, you can use Khan Academy, and you can also use Jack Weston. It's another website to use for cars. Do you even read, bro? Oh yeah, I hardcore read. Then why do you fail the MCAT cars section? I never said I understand what I read. Why you gotta be such a dick about it? And then Khan Academy in general, if there's a concept you're struggling with, they have videos on most MCAT concepts. So I would definitely recommend going on there, and seeing something in video form for me helps a lot, as far as just comprehension and having the visual aid as well as someone explaining it. I learn best through media. I don't mess with kinesthetic learning, verbal learning, and definitely not reading. I get most of my knowledge from TikTok, actually. So one of the last things I would recommend doing a couple weeks before your test is going through the official AAMC content guidelines, where they have laid out everything that they want you to know in kind of a shorthand version. And people on the internet have taken the time to kind of fill out the answers to everything the AAMC wants you to know. So for example, the AAMC says, we want you to know about membrane movement. And then someone on the internet took that and wrote right under it, oh, membrane movement, happens through the lipid bilayer and whatnot, and we'll kind of explain what the answer the AAMC is looking for is. And so what you can do is go through those filled out documents, which I will link in the description below, and then see if you know that stuff. And if you don't know certain stuff on there very well, you can make a flashcard out of it using that flashcard program, Anki. And so you can kind of drill that into your head. And that's just a good check last minute. Do I know, everything they want me to know to some degree or another? Okay, and I also wanted to share with y'all a couple tricks for the critical analysis and reading section that some of my friends gave me and I think are really good. So one trick is, even if the passages that they're asking you to read are super boring, which a lot of them are, kind of trick yourself into getting really excited about them, because then you'll probably retain more information from that passage. Holy shit, I'm reading a cars section about 16th century basket weaving right now, and it is so cool. Another important critical analysis and reading trick is, don't bring your own personality or preconceptions into the passage with you. Just kind of read each passage at face value and only choose an answer if it's directly stated or implied in the passage, without bringing your own kind of ideas about the world into it. So you kind of want to be just a passive reader and analyzer of each situation. So I know I just gave y'all an extensive study plan with a bunch of resources, and I would definitely recommend that because that's how I did very well, and I think those can all be super helpful to you. However, if you kind of want the short version of this and don't need as high a score but still want to do well, what some of my friends did was they just took a crap load of practice tests and did a bunch of practice questions. And so I would recommend using the AAMC, UWorld, and Next Step, and just doing a bunch of practice tests. And then after every test, go through and review it and make flashcards about the stuff you don't know too well. So use that program Anki, or if you prefer another flashcard program, or if you just want to do notes, that's fine. But I would recommend making flashcards over the concepts that you don't know as well from each test when you go back and analyze it. And then you can kind of drill that information into your head and do better on each successive practice test and just be ready for the real thing. So one of my friends that did that got a 518, which is like 96th percentile, so very good still. So I don't think that method is gonna, push you over the edge to get like a 522, but because content review is important too. But if you can study in 2 months and just mostly take practice tests, more power to you. So that's the short version. That's all I have for you guys, so thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.